Hello and welcome back to the workshop. So I was recently helping a friend of mine move house and we were going through his garage, which was absolutely rammed full of stuff. We were trying to be quite ruthless, so we were sorting it out into stuff to keep, pile of rubbish and a big pile of scrap. Now I have to admit, quite a bit of the scrap ended up coming home with me, including this rather lovely little storage unit. Now initially, my plan was just to put it somewhere in here, fill it full of stuff. But then I had a much better idea. So there's a little bit more going on here than it might first appear. So we've got these open shelves. We've also got these shelves here, but these ones, they pull out, so you've got easy access to the contents. It's also got this rather nifty door that folds itself away when it's open. Now I was just about to pressure wash this thing outside. And so it's got some really nice old-fashioned branding on it. So I want to keep that. It says Compactium Tool Cabinet. Save valuable floor space with the Compactium. Oh, and here's a mention of the door as well. It says here, showing patent disappearing door. So they put a patent on the door for the fact that it vanishes around the side there. And I guess from the picture you can see it's for lathe tools and things like that. I've got a slightly different idea for what to do with it. So rather than pressure wash it, I'm just going to give it a quick hoover and a wipe down, and then I'll tell you what I've got in mind. Just like the fly press behind me, and indeed most of the machinery in here, I've got no interest in painting this. I'm just going to get the worst of the filth off, and then I'll douse it in WD-40 and give it a good wipe. And that'll be that. There we go, much cleaner, but I've kept all the patination. Sometimes it's nice to let old things look old. My plan then is to fit wheels to this cupboard and turn it into a trolley, a tool trolley. And then I'll load it up with my most frequently used tools. And the idea is that I can drag this around the workshop with me, wherever I'm working, and those tools will be nicely to hand. Now I do already have a trolley. This is it. I've had this for a few years now. And I've got my, you see I've got my hand tools here, I've got marking out tools here. There's a handy little drawer. Now this is a great trolley, I do like it, but it does have a couple of drawbacks. One, it's a little bit too bulky to be properly mobile in the workshop. It ends up getting in the way, and I end up just leaving it parked up here most of the time. The other issue is that I found myself dragging it outside because I do a lot of work in the carport next door on the Land Rover, or out in the field even on the lorry. And this is useless the moment you get off concrete. The wheels are just too small. What I'm going to do then is take the wheels off this one and put them on this one, fit bigger wheels on this one and make this an off-road trolley. And then these hand tools that are here will go onto here, but then I'm going to go further by fitting a power outlet on the back of this one and making a home for the die grinder and the angle grinder as well. Okay, let's get to it. If I mount the wheels at that level, the height of the finished trolley will be just right. In other words, we need to cut these legs off just here, all the way round. Then what I'm going to do, because there is a racking movement here, it can all flex side to side. I'm going to get a sheet of plywood and fix that onto the bottom, and that will take all that away. Once the plywood is attached to the metal here by loads of bolts which hold in on the wheels, it'll all become much more stiff. Found a piece of ply. If you've seen Project Kermit, you might recognise this as the stuff I made the dashboard out of. It's flooring from the old telecoms truck. It's already the right width. I'm just going to come in a bit to get rid of this manky edge, and we'll go from about there to there. Tell you what though, because this surface is textured, I might keep this bit, go up there. Yeah, that fits perfectly there, and it'll be a handy way to brace the top section. So I'll cut another bit for this. Now, perfect. Okay, so I've been wrestling with this for a while, and just down here, down each side, there's just no access to get bolts to come through from the top. So what I'm going to do on those ones is put riv nuts in from the bottom. Yeah, so there's that one, and that one. Means now there's a nut installed solidly in this bit. These two I can reach from the inside. That corner will do. Good. This should be mega braced compared to what it was. Yeah, I can't flex it at all. So the base of it is really well braced now, but there is still, I don't know how pertinent it really is, but there is still some flexing at the top. So what I'm going to do is bolt this one down as well, and that will just stop all of that. Cool. So with that done, we can now reinstate the door. A little runner down there. Tell you what, it is much more sturdy feeling now with those bits of plywood bracing it. A vast improvement. So I said I wanted to put all the hand tools from the old trolley on this one, but I also want to accommodate angle grinder and a die grinder, and I want to put a double socket on the back here for that. I've been up on the mezzanine and routed through the stores, and I found a metal clad double socket. And also a load of decent flexible cable. Okay, I'll bring that in through the side. So I've got these because I don't like this multi-strand stuff going straight into a screw connection. So if you use the ferrules, which one I'm going to use? Blue. So by doing that, the screw can now go down onto something solid rather than something not solid like that. The alternative would be to tin the wires, which I'm sure is fine too. We need to cover up that hole. I've got a grommet for this. So I'll work out how much of this I need and cut it down. Good. So let's start loading it up. So I'll put an angle grinder there, and this tool is the die grinder. You can see it's got a carbide burr on the end. Very useful in some circumstances. So I want to put this there, this slot down here. This tray has all marking out tools and things of that ilk. Go on as it is. Hammers down there, tapes here, scribe pencils and things like that. Clip on there. Right, let's bend up some brackets. I'm going to use this stuff, which is 16 by 3, and the fly press. So I've recently made a rather major upgrade to the fly press. Well, just made some more tooling for it. So this is press brake tooling that I've got hold of. These are just solder spares, and this is 400mm across, and it's the top tool and the X block they call it. And all I've done is made up a clamping system to hold it in the fly press. So I can now do sheet metal, but also things like this. Hilariously easy. So now I'll take that and just bring it over it. With tiny little stuff like this, I don't even have to swing. I can just pull it. There we are. That's that. Fit this. Oh yeah. Well, there we are. This trolley is done. I'm very happy with that. I've got all my fabrication tools very easily to hand. So I've got pliers up here, hammers down here, all my marking out kit, tape measures, PP is just right there. And of course the angle grinder and die grinder attached to the side and powered by the trolley. This, I think, is a better working height than the previous trolley, and this is just much easier to follow me around the workshop. So I'm chuffed to bits with that. Last job then is to fit wheels, big wheels, onto the other trolley and make it all terrain. I've been through the bramble patch and I found these. This is a set of 4 casters from a trolley that I salvaged, well, scrapped, but salvaged the casters 10, maybe even 20 years ago. So we've got 2 turning ones, 2 fixed ones. These bits are fine, but all the wheels are seized. They don't rotate at all. I've also got these. These are a pair of wheels from an industrial dehumidifier, of all things. And these look like pump-ups, but they're not. They're solid. Now, slightly disappointed to find there's no bearing in there. But then I figured for the kind of mileage that we'll be doing with this trolley, it doesn't matter at all. I've got a bit of tubing that will fit in there, which will make the axle. Rather than use all 4 of these, my plan is just to use the rotating ones at one end of the trolley and put these on the other end of the trolley, and then I can drag it about like a trolley, but if it gets really tough, I can just lift the end that's got these on and push it about on there, kind of like a twin wheel wheelbarrow. This is a tool for getting grease into the chainsaw bar. I'm thinking it might just do for squirting some grease into here. Can't really see any other way of doing it. That's good. If I do them this way, I can use 2 of the existing holes. Yeah, and then I've just got to worry about 2 others. So I'll try that there. Let's chalk it up. So obviously nothing holding that in at the moment. So this is what I'm thinking, some angle coming down here, only needs to be about, I'll fix it to there. Coming down, yeah, about there. We're holding it there for that axle to go through. And we'll put the axle there. Just right. I can use this. This is aluminium, which will do fine for this because we're going to bolt it in place. That first bolt hole to second. Axle hole, bolt hole, bolt hole. Cut it there, cut it there. And as I've laid out this one, I've done an exact mirror copy over here for the other side. These are going from 6mm to 8mm on here, and then it's going to put a single 8mm in there. I've now worked out how long the axle needs to be, and I've cut it to length. So the wheels need to be spaced out by, I'm just using these big washers as spacers. I'm going to have 2 of those there, and then 1 on the outside. And I've been thinking about how to attach the wheel onto the axle. My initial idea was just to drill a hole right the way through, put the wheel on, put a washer on, and then put a split pin through the hole, which would be fine. But then I thought it'd be much nicer if I had a bolt head on the end here, and a big, like a penny washer sort of thing, something like that on the end to cap it. So I've discovered a 12mm nut will fit fairly well in the end of the tube. I've got a bit of thread bar here. Before I put the rear axle on, I'm just going to take these off and give them a quick spray with some paint. Just because they just don't like the green. On these ones as well. Didn't need spaces on. Right, it's almost dark outside, but there should be just enough light for a quick test drive. That is so much better. So much better. Wow. Brilliant. Well, I hope you'll agree that's quite a result. So we've taken something good and made it better, or better for what I want, and we're taking something that's rubbish and turned it into something which I think is going to be really useful. So with this one, the idea is I can load it up with spanners, sockets, whatever, and I can trundle off to the work site, wherever it may be. This one, on the other hand, which remember was a cupboard earlier on, this is now loaded up with all my most frequently used tools, and this can follow me about the workshop whether I'm working this side of the workbench, that side of the workbench, or even over in the woodworking corner. That concludes the tale of two trolleys. And once again, we've managed to come in on budget, and that budget was £0 spent. Right then, I'm going to have a tidy up and get back to work rebuilding the lorry. I'll see you next time. Cheers for now.